Alright everyone, welcome to episode number 88 of Everyday Thoughts. I just finished a 16-minute recording of a video just to find out that my mic was completely fucked up. But I'm back after 3 weeks. I had exam season. I am sincerely sorry, I was fucking lacking. But now I'm done, I'm back, and let's get straight into it. So I would like to start off with a quote, which goes, "Only those which are risking to go too far can possibly find out how far you can actually go." That being said, let's get into all of this. I have a lot of things written down, but I've been along for quite some time, so I'm gonna make it a long one. Alright, let's fucking go. Goes where you are celebrated and not where you are tolerated. Quite simple, but extremely important at the same time. Find a friend group or people in general that want to be around you and aren't just like, yeah, him again. Could be without him. It's okay. Next one. Are you buying luxury clothing because its value per dollar is good, or because you want to look rich? Turns out that especially people from, or poorer people, tend to buy more luxury clothing than the rest of people, besides really rich people, because they don't want to be perceived and seem as poor, which I find extremely interesting, but in hindsight makes a lot of sense at the same time. Then, what I found extremely interesting is when our minds wander, only 12% of that time is spent in the past, 28% is spent in the present, and 48% is spent thinking about the future. If you calculated that together, it's not 100%, and that is because sometimes when we wander, our mind just doesn't think about anything, which makes it so much more important to actually have some time to enable that mind wandering. And by doing that, which I found extremely good and helpful, is two things. First of all is acknowledging the paradox of practice, which I think everyone else has to a certain, or does to a certain sort of degree, is preaching something but not being about something. So this used to be me quite a bit. I used to preach timetables. I even did a video about timetables on this channel. I did a timetable, I have a timetable, but I didn't always stick to it. Now I do. And what I implemented into this timetable is distraction breaks. Why that, or for what is that? Well, they're especially for social media use. So I have certain times where I just get on my phone and just let the brain rot consume, if you want to say that way, which I think is actually not that of a bad idea, if I'm gonna be honest with you, because it reduced my screen time by quite a lot, and it just doesn't enable me to, or I feel a lot less like I just want to pick up my phone while doing something or while working, and I'm actually a lot more focused since I have a given time in which I simply just focus on that thing ahead of me because of my timetable, but also because I know that I have certain times where I can actually look at my phone and just do whatever the fuck I want to. And that is extremely important because excessive social media use, first of all, there was like a big statistic on that it makes you, or that uses a shit ton of your time. It was like 20% of your whole lifespan, or 10%, which is a lot just spent on social media. And if you think about it, can you actually remember most of what you're doing on social media? No, you can't. So that's why a timetable and set distraction breaks are extremely helpful. Why is that? Well, first of all, because of the time spent, and second of all, because you have always all those distractions on your phone that you feel like they need an urgent response. If you have a distraction break, you will find out that those responses aren't as urgent as you think they are. Obviously, if you're going to somewhere and you're wanting to meet up with somebody, just be on your phone and be fucking answer to them if they are somewhere. But if you're not, you don't have to be anywhere. Lay that phone down, get it out, and set yourself a time where you can actually be on that phone. Because you are basically just training yourself to be distracted if you are on your phone simultaneously when you're working. Next thing, it's not always a good idea to emulate high level competition and to indulge in that high level competition. I noticed that because I ran a marathon 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I did the whole thing. Yes, I can make a video about it, about how I prepared for it, etc, if somebody's interested. But more importantly about this point is that when I was preparing for that, I had to neglect quite a lot of things and actually had quite a big drawback, given that I lost a shit ton of weight during that preparation for the marathon, which is quite a big problem. It's not that big of a problem because it's gonna get back quite quickly, or not that quickly, but quicker than usual because of body recomposition. But I still lost a lot of weight, and that is a drawback. So when you want to indulge in high level competition, just measure the drawbacks and see if it's actually worth it for you. Then, certainty makes people believe you a lot easier and a lot better, but at the same time, it also makes it a lot easier for you to be slandered when you are wrong, or it turns out that you're wrong. So what I mean by this is, if I say for certainty I did something while I didn't, and people find out, they'll be like, well, you're a fucking fraud, bro, what the fuck? But if I'm not sure about something and I sound like that, it's like, yeah, maybe, yeah, I'm not sure. People will know that you're not 100% sure, and it's a lot harder to be hard on you than if you were giving everybody the illusion, or presenting everybody the illusion that you know what you were talking about, even though if you clearly don't. So choose both when necessary. Obviously, if you believe in your words, make the world know that you believe in your words and that you know what you're talking about. Extremely important. Then, when you're talking to people and they ask about your opinion, state your opinion and not your opinion of what you think is the correct opinion. Just state your opinion. People want to know what you think and not what you think other people would think is a good thing to do. This has 2 reasons to it. First one is, if you are fully authentic in your reasoning, you will find people that think likewise. But at the same time, if you have somebody that disagrees with you, you will find out that you either have a flawed opinion or you're right in your opinion, given that you actually are open to changing your opinion and seeing if you're right or not. Then the next thing, give people a reputation and watch them give their best to live up to that reputation, given that their reputation is a good one and they like it. This is especially good if you want people to get something done, or if you want to have somebody keep doing the good work that they've been putting in, because they have a reputation to live up to and they for sure will give their best to do so. Then, Never be afraid to praise somebody for something good that they have done. As always, or I have talked about this quite a lot, don't be afraid to praise somebody for something that they've done, which is good. First of all, we crave sympathy. Everybody does, unless you're like a psychopath or sociopath. But we crave sympathy, and we also crave praise. So, first of all, you are letting that desire be fulfilled, which makes it a lot more easy to like you, and it also makes it a lot more likely for same behavior to occur again. And when it comes to something that, for example, was a mistake, praise something that was good, and then add on to something which wasn't so good. Don't slander them. Make them feel like they're in an environment where making mistakes and failing is not a bad thing, but which is accepted and which is a good thing as long as you learn, as long as you are responsible and you take accountability. Why both? Not just one? Well, responsibility is only really beneficial if you follow it up with accountability. There you go. For a quite simple reason. You can admit your mistake that you did for the third time in a row. But if you did that mistake the third time in a row, you weren't accountable and you didn't actually change the behavior. And the likelihood of you actually getting into that same situation again is very high if you aren't accountable. So accountability accountability with responsibility is what you should be aiming for. Alright, next thing. Take control over your environment and watch your life change around you. Given that basically where you are currently is a result of your your choices, it is extremely important and good to know that your choices are the building block of your behavior and your environment. So if you are unhappy or unsatisfied with your current environment, maybe look a bit deeper into your choices that you're doing, and maybe you will find out that that's the root of the problem, and don't just battle the symptoms of the problem, because you're not gonna fix it by doing so. Then, if you don't know where you're going, how can you expect to end up where you want to end up? This is, I think, the most important point or argument for setting clear goals with a clear roadmap to how you get to that goal. Because if you just have a vague goal, you have no idea how to achieve that goal, you're so unlikely to actually achieve that goal. It's crazy. And the more sort of planned your way to that goal is, the more likely you are to actually achieve that goal. But don't get stuck in paralysis of analysis, because you're not going to get done that way. Or you're not going to get anything done that way. There you go. And the more you talk about it, the less you are going to do it. Then, we believe what we are taught until we have gathered evidence of the contrary. So, if always take anything learned with a grain of salt, also the things I say, everything, and see what you think to be the truth, and don't let anybody just tell you, okay, this is the truth with absolutely no evidence. Always look into the things deeper and find evidence for claims that are supposedly true or not. Then, what I find extremely sad in the self-improvement space is the overhyping. Not overhyping. I think the delayed gratification is extremely important to a certain degree. If you have delayed gratification if you're doing it on such a scale that you basically have an infinite delay. There is no gratification. You're just living in the horrible or in the uncomfortable. Not even that. You give yourself no time to reap the benefits of the work you've actually done. You're just working all the time, but you never get to appreciate what you have done, which is, in my opinion, so important to do, and also a reason to sometimes just look back at what you have achieved and what you've done, especially when things get hard. All right. Next one is actually the last one. We choose to interpret our choices based on the knowledge that we possess. So my question is, to you and myself, how big is that frame of knowledge? And how can you expand that frame of knowledge to find choices that you didn't think were possible or didn't even know about? That being said, I thank you very much for watching this video. I'm not a Hamza clone. I'm not sure if I said this already. I just finished a sauna session. That's why I'm in the bathrobe. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow. Yeah.